All right, let's go ahead and get started. Does anybody have any questions? You can type them in. Let's see what we got here. Okay, I got something from Scott Smith. So he has a question. This is actually about the Tech Innovation Grant. The Tech Innovation Grant is a part of the Libraries Without Walls grant. This is a GPLS grant that's partially funded by Lib Tech and the CARES Act. So it is a combo grant that is due at the same time tomorrow. And his question is, Shannan, our biggest priority is obtaining Meraki external access points. Will this pretty certainly be approved as a Tech Innovation Grant? I would say that is uncertain. It really depends on the number of people that have applied. If it's not a large number of applications, we'll try and give everybody a little bit of something. But if it is a large number, this is technically a competitive grant. It does have to be creative and innovative and a larger project that impacts, that impacts others. So it is that kind of grant. It's not just kind of like Lib Tech where you apply for something and you get the funding. So I will say that that's something that we are trying to target with this grant. If you do not get the Tech Innovation Grant for any reason, I definitely recommend thinking about the Wi-Fi expansion grant. That one opens on Monday. So that one will target specifically what you're trying to do, which is expand the Wi-Fi beyond the building by putting them outside, on the outside of your building. So if the Tech Innovation Grant doesn't happen for you, definitely apply for that one. And you should know before the deadline of the Wi-Fi expansion, if you get the Tech Innovation, everybody should know about the Tech Innovation Grant by November 24th. So again, unsure. It really depends on the number of applications and the type of applications that are submitted. I hope that answered your question, Scott. That was a really good question. Scott followed that question up with, I wasn't clear if this would fit with the Wi-Fi expansion as these will be placed on library property. Yes, it does. And in fact, I probably will go back after Tech Bootcamp and update the webpage just so that's clear. I think some people have been getting a lot of questions about that, but putting those outside or access points on your building definitely is still considered Wi-Fi expansion, and frankly, the easiest way to do it. So I really encourage you to apply for that as well. So great question. Another question here about the Meraki licenses. If they will be eligible under these grants and approved for funding. That's the beauty of this CARES Act funding. Lib Tech, you can't do licenses, but under CARES Act funding, you can. So both for the Tech Innovation and the Wi-Fi expansion, you can add licenses. Definitely, please do. That's good. That's your way to get it this time around. And this is kind of a one-time opportunity with this CARES Act funding to really get some of those things that you need. Oh, you're welcome, Scott. Any other questions? And I'm happy to chat about either the Lib Tech purchasing plan due or Tech Innovation and the other grants as well. So I'm happy to chat about whatever you need. Does anybody have anything that's holding them up on submitting the purchasing plan? Scott, yes. So if you apply for the Tech Innovation, you can, there'll definitely be enough time to see the results of that and then decide to apply for the Wi-Fi expansion grant. That's why we tried to stagger them. So if people did not get funded under one, they can go try and get funding again under the other. So that was the whole point. I know it seems weird to have them all happening over the year, but it was intentional, really, to try and help you guys. So we put the really large grant in front that could be anything under the sun, and then the more specific grants after that. So definitely encourage you to apply for as many as you can. If I had to say one thing, I would definitely say apply for as many as you can. Take advantage of it, because you are only going to get one shot at this. And I'm not sure if we're going to be able to do these grants again next year. You just never know with funding. So take advantage of it. Looks like Daniel's session is running a bit late. So hopefully we will have some more people coming in. Any other questions? Let's see. Any questions about the purchasing plans or the grants? They kind of go together. Ohio, yes, I'm glad. Keep those fingers crossed and good vibes. Hopefully it will be all good. See, the side note to that is so Heidel just asked about grants to upgrade staff PCs. And that's really tough with Lib Tech, because you can't, they have to be used by the public. The nice thing with CARES Act funding is there's a bit of a kind of a gray area. You can fund things for staff as long as they have some sort of, you can prove they have a public impact. So if there's any last minute people wanting to do a quick application before tomorrow for Tech Innovation, as long as you can justify that the things that you're buying with the CARES Act funding will have a public impact, then you certainly can still apply for the Tech Innovation for that. I've had a lot of people ask about RFID. RFID is one of those things that under Lib Tech only partially gets funding, which is really tough. And so this Tech Innovation Grant is a way to get your RFID project completely funded, up to $30,000, of course, if you're awarded. And the thing that never gets funded in the RFID was the staff stations, the staff pads, because it says staff under Lib Tech. So that's the beauty of the CARES Act. So definitely, if you have some people with some last minute thoughts and you want to still apply, as long as you can justify the staff stuff is going to be used by the public. I have had people talk about podcasting. They want podcasting equipment. For that, I would advise that the staff can use it, but you need to make it accessible to the public as well for that to fly. But you know, RFID, barcode scanners, staff pads, stuff like that, things that you just can't seem to get through. You know, you can try and ask for that under the Tech Innovation. All right, next question. Derek, great question. That did come up, but I want to make sure I answer it here as well again, because maybe people weren't here. But Derek has asked about placing Wi-Fi on the outside of the building so it doesn't impact E-rate. And that is a really great solution. So you certainly can apply for Tech Innovation Grant for that. That is the one that is due tomorrow. As long as that's kind of being innovative and that kind of larger project. If you do not get the Tech Innovation Grant for that kind of external Wi-Fi, you can apply for the Wi-Fi expansion grant. That opens up on Monday, November 2nd, and won't close until the end of December. So you would have time to know if you've been approved for the Tech Innovation before trying to apply for the Wi-Fi expansion. But I definitely encourage you to apply, Derek, because in fact, I'm probably going to go back and change the website, because this external outside of your building APs is a really great thing to apply for that Wi-Fi expansion grant. So because I know a lot of people are intimidated about if you do TV white space, you would have to cover you would have to change your billing for E-rate. So you 100% cover the cost of whatever those external kind of TV white space modules are doing. And that can be intimidating and just sometimes cumbersome. So if the interim step is putting outdoor, outside of the building access points on your building, definitely consider applying. I really encourage that. And if you're interested on seeing how that kind of works, Alex Boardman did a presentation called Wi-Fi Expansion Project. It's a lightning talk. He talks about what he did and how it worked for him, and it's this exact type of thing. So I encourage you to go watch that video. Let's see, and then the follow-up question from Derek, it's, so should we wait on the Wi-Fi grant result then file E-rate? So I would still encourage you to file for do everything you can. So the Wi-Fi expansion application is going to close at the end of December, and you probably won't know about that until the end of January. But I know the window for applying for E-rate Cat 2 for next year closes sometime in December. So you may want to do this concurrently and see what happens. So we are trying to get the applications out as fast as we can, but I don't think you know about the Wi-Fi expansion grant in time before you file for E-rate. So definitely talk to, reach out to Charlie or Kristen about that. Say you're considering doing this Wi-Fi expansion grant for the outdoor APs, but we probably won't know until January if we're funded, but I still want to try Cat 2 as well. And he can help you work through that process and see what happens. But I definitely encourage you not to apply for the Wi-Fi expansion, because this is a one chance, one-time funding that's just there that we won't ever get this opportunity again. And I really encourage people to try and take advantage of it. Great question, Derek, thank you. And Heidel, that is a really great point. You can, as far as RFID, an outside solution, some people have been really creative with Chrome. If you can't get your RFID funded under Lib Tech, you can do the Chrome devices and set them up as self-check kiosks, because Chrome devices will go. So they will be allowable, including the OS management license, because it's considered an operating system. So that is a great call out, Heidel. Thank you. Any other questions? Great questions so far. Really good stuff. I'm really excited for this year. Really excited to see what you guys are doing with your purchasing plans and the Tech Innovation Grant. So I get to dig in next week. Any other questions?
Shannan, I have a question. This is Donna with Sequoia.
Hey, Donna.
You've been trying to help me, and you've been great. So thanks for your patience.
Oh, you're welcome.
If I get my E-rate vendor, my vendor that did my cabling to split the cost from the installation, would I be able to put that amount on my Lib Tech, the cabling amount on my Lib Tech?
That's correct. Yes. I sent you that email this morning. Hopefully, if you
yes, it was great.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Yes, yes, that is correct. So some vendors are operating on the older system. So under Lib Tech, your Cat 2 used to be 100% funded, no matter the wording, no matter what was included. Mm-hmm. It is not the case now. So wording makes a difference, and intention makes a difference. So particularly on your quote, it said installation and Cat 2.6 cabling. They combined them, and unfortunately that won't go. So, but if you split and remove installation and have Cat 6 cabling and the patches separate, you then can ask for that Cat 6 cabling and patches. And then just don't include. And again, that's your non-discounted portion. Donna, that was definitely on your quote, but I'm saying for everybody, make sure if you are doing E-rate Cat 2 this year, that the amounts you only put on your purchasing plan are the non-discounted portion, and to make sure to please include the quote like Donna's doing, so that I can see how the wording will go on the end, because whatever's on the quote is 9 times out of 10 what will end up on the invoice, and I'm just trying to avoid any issues at the reimbursement phase. But yes, please, if they're willing to do that, most E-rate vendors I've found have been willing to work with you guys on how the invoices laid out so you can get the maximum amount of Lib Tech.
Okay.
I want to follow this up though, Donna. This is a really great question. You can apply for the broadband infrastructure grant that opens December 1st. That's just for Cat 2 non-discounted portions. And that grant will pay for all of your non-discounted portions. So right now you're trying to figure out how to make it work with Lib Tech, but you can wait and apply for the December 1st, which we already kind of have an idea from Charlie how many people have done Cat 2, how much that's going to be. And the goal will be to give everybody something to get it as many people funded as possible under that one that opens December 1st. And again, the goal of that grant is to fund 100% of your non-discounted portion of Cat 2. So you have two options. It's your call, Donna, though. If you want to keep going with Lib Tech, you certainly can keep going with Lib Tech. But if you want to take a chance on that broadband, like I said, we're aware of how many people out there have Cat 2 this year, and the goal is to try and fund really as many people as we can. So
okay.
It's your call. But I do want to make a mention because not a lot of people have shown interest in that grant, and the money is sitting there. So
okay.
And that could help you, and then you don't have to go back to the vendor and ask for them to revise the quote, and you can just submit the quote as it is. And then in your specific case, you also had a second quote of network stuff that wasn't Cat 2 related, no E-rate related, but still a network upgrade, and you can still do your Lib Tech for that.
Okay. Which grant did the RFID fall under?
That would be Tech Innovation, and that's the one that's due tomorrow.
Okay. So I think I will wait. Thank you, Shannon. Great.
You're welcome. No problem. Thank you. All right, I'm going to jump back to chat here and see what other questions. Okay, I've got a great question here for those people from Heidel, for those people who were awarded the Chromebooks that for the first grant that just closed. Those award letters went out, gosh, maybe last week. We are working on it. What we have done is we found that the model we wanted was on back order for a very long time. But there is this opportunity for a different model, but that has the same kind of specs to it. It's not really that different. We found out that that model might be available as early as November or December. And so now we're having to go back to CDWG and work out and see if we can do this new model to get them to you sooner. So we are working on it. Fingers crossed, we're trying to figure out the best way to get you something quickly, but still have that really great quality that we originally wanted. Hope that answered your question. Thank you. All right, awesome. I see a lot more people have joined in. For those that have joined us, definitely want to say this is just a free-flowing kind of question and answer session. I'm here to answer any questions you may have. You certainly, I'm looking at the chat, and then or you can use the Q&A feature, and then or you're welcome to unmute your mic. And thank you. He is a cute dog. Both my pets are making appearances today, and my husband. So that's what happens when you're working from home. They're great companions, though. They make me happy every day because I get to work with my pets every day. Any other questions? Wow, he's definitely wants some eyes on him today. All right, while we're waiting for people to think of their questions, how about I go over the upcoming deadlines really quick, fast. So let's see, tomorrow is your purchasing plan deadline. It is also the deadline for the Tech Innovation Grant under Libraries Without Walls. Monday opens the Wi-Fi expansion grant. Think about that one though. We've staggered them so that people could find out if they get funded for one, and if they don't, then they can keep applying. So We tried to stagger them so it has less impact as we could. So yes, so Monday is the Wi-Fi expansion grant. That grant is targeting TV white space, mesh networks, line of sight, and I definitely want to adding the outdoor access points to your building. That also qualifies under that grant. So that opens November 2nd, Monday. That will close the end of December. And then most likely the announcements will happen in January. So December 1st would be the broadband infrastructure grant. That grant is specifically targeting the non-discounted portion of the E-rate Cat 2. The intention here is to help people bring all the libraries up to one level of wireless access, one level of statistic gathering. So just bring everybody up to the same place. And the way we're doing that is through non-discounted portions of Cat 2. That opens December 1st. It will end the end of January, and people will be notified in February. So those are coming. I will say I've gotten a lot of questions about next year's Cat 2. So I don't know what the world will hold. Hopefully we did get Lib Tech funding this year, so the hope is we'll continue to get Lib Tech funding next year to help with Cat 2. I know there's been some asks to see if we will have some of this CARES Act money left over. I just can't answer that. But I will say there's been a lot of interest for support for next year's Cat 2 as well. So we'll do the best we can and just stay tuned. Amanda, great question. Is this an opportunity to increase broadband from 100 to 300? So it's really targeting devices. I would say probably yes. It's about Wi-Fi expansion though. It's not really about, so the Wi-Fi expansion one's really about expanding your Wi-Fi. So how can you increase digital access beyond your building because of Corona, because of the COVID, because pandemic. So that's really that focus. So looking at, outdoor APs, TV white space, how do we get it outside of the building of the actual physical library building? The second one is really focused on Cat 2, and Cat 2 is equipment based. So broadband infrastructure is about Cat 2. And so it would depend on if you've applied for Cat 2 and planned for that broadband increase through Cat 2. Yeah, so is the non-discounted portion of broadband, she has followed up with what she's talking about. As long as it's Cat 2, this grant does not do Cat 1. So if you've applied this year for E-rate Cat 2, and you've been approved, you've been committed, then the broadband infrastructure grant will help you with the non-discounted portion for the Cat 2. Heidel's following up. The last grant will help cover the Cat 2, the library portion. Does the invoice date have to be before July or after July for the Cat 2 library portion? Does that make a difference? Is this this July, next July? What July are we talking about? Because that does make a difference, actually. This July. Okay. Before or after July? It does. I think it depends on your commitment, and I'm trying to think back to Charlie's dates. So my knowledge of E-rate is kind of just enough of how they overlap with Lib Tech. And my understanding is you should be okay because it's still considered the FY 2020 funding year. So if it's still the FY 2020 funding year, all right. So Heidel's asking if I did Cat 2 this year to renew my current Meraki's. So again, it's yes, if you've already applied and you're in the process of being committed, you've already applied to USAC, you've already done the application in December, and you're just in the process of finding out if you've been funded, then yes, the broadband infrastructure grant will help you. If you have not applied for Cat 2 and you're thinking of doing it for to renew your current items, and you're applying for next year, which is this December, is when the applications happen. The grant won't cover that, but potentially next year's Lib Tech can. So there's 2 different years. It's a bit confusing. Here's the current year, FY20. You've already applied back in December of 2019. You're just in the process of knowing if you've been funded, if you've been committed, and you're planning your installs for that year. Okay. I see. I see. Now my question, Heidel's asking, we've already gotten funded. They've already been invoices already done. It really depends on your E-rate year then. I didn't realize you had already done the install and been invoiced. So that is a really great question. I would definitely look, it depends on what funding year, really, E-rate funding year. If it's your FY 2020 funding year, but you did it early, well, FY 21's next year. That's what people are applying for in December. So I'm guessing then, yes, it's your current year. Then yes, you can apply for the broadband infrastructure grant, for sure. Because the grants are all reimbursement based. So we're just trying to, that's actually a really great question to follow up on. How the grants will work is most likely what we'll do is once you've been funded, you'll submit monthly invoices and we'll pay it that way because it is reimbursement based and we're trying to minimize the impact. So we're still working out the funding details. I'm hoping by next week we'll have them all laid out, but most likely what will happen is you'll have monthly invoicing. So to kind of a pay as you go with less impact to you for all the funding that you're getting. So that was a great question. Sorry, I wasn't understanding because some people, it takes forever. Some people also still have leftover FY19 money. E-rate just kind of has a different timeline than anything else. And so I still have people who have FY19 funding trying to figure it out. I have people who have FY20 funding that they've been or waiting to be committed or may have already been committed. And then I have people thinking about doing FY21. And then I have to figure out how Lib Tech and all these grants interweave into these E-rate dates. So, but yes, it sounds like you have FY20 funding, and so you would qualify for the broadband infrastructure grant. So definitely keep in mind that for those thinking about Cat 2 for next year, the ones that are going to probably apply by December of this year for FY21 E-rate, Lib Tech does help with the non-discounted portion. It won't pay for everything, but if we get funded for Lib Tech next year, which knock on wood, we got funded this year, which is a really good thing. So I think if we got funded this year in the current environment, my hope is we'll still get funded next year. Keep in the back of your head that Lib Tech Cat 2, Lib Tech and E-rate Cat 2, you know, Lib Tech can help with some of your non-discounted portions. It only took me 2 years to figure all that out. E-rate and Lib Tech overlap, and I still have to pause sometime and dig in my brain. Thank you, Donna. I appreciate that. Any other questions? Thank you, Amanda. That was very nice of you. Still have moments. E-rate is tough to wrap your brain around. So. Any other questions? Either about the purchasing plan or the what's due tomorrow or any of the grants. Anybody want to ask about allowable items? Is there something you've may put on your plan, but you're just not sure? All right, well, I'm here for you guys. I'm going to give it a few more minutes, and if we don't have any more questions, I'll end it. Let's see, 12:33, so if we don't have any more questions by, let's say 12:38, we'll give 5 more minutes. I will shut it down, and then you guys can have a little bit of time before your next session. And again, I am always available on Whova or through email. I am trying to respond as fast as I can to your questions that are coming through email. Whova might be a little bit more quick because I am still in the middle of organizing TBC. But so if you go to this office hour session and ask any questions you may have, I will be responsive there. And I am trying to do my email ones in the evening. Oh, Carrie has a question about how often do you offer an intro to E-rate course? I actually don't. This is just something that I've kind of picked up, but I find you're not the first person to ask that. So maybe next year in my Lib Tech overview webinar, I might actually break down E-rate, the Lib Tech E-rate overlap a little more so that have that piece to it. I might do that. That's a really great suggestion. So thank you. I might do that. You're not the first person who's asked about that. Any other questions? If everybody's enjoying Tech Boot Camp. It's been fun interacting with everyone on Whova and all the events. Thanks, Andrew. I definitely, they're my friends. Oh, I know, Donna, it's tough with the power going out. Mine went out, but luckily I'm not like Daniel. Daniel's working on 3 different laptops trying to get as much power as he can out of it. So yeah, they are. It's the child from the Mandalorian. Baby Yoda. I like Baby Yoda. I'm glad everybody's having a really great time at TBC, and it's been a really positive experience for everyone. We're missing y'all in person. I'm sorry that there's been not so positive experiences in the past. The food is definitely better too because you're home and making it yourself, right? And the beds, right? You get your own bed at the end of the day. Not Unicoi. I love Unicoi for many things. The rooms are not one of them. Oh, Heidel's asking, I really wish there was some grant position for the MS Office Suite and Windows licenses. I really wish that too. I just couldn't figure out a way to get that to go with these grants because they still have that public access. So it would be different. I guess it would be like 1 or 2 where you're doing a special project and you need staff to have 1 or 2 special computers to do that project, then maybe you can get them to go. But yeah, now I will say Windows licenses, operating systems are allowable under Lib Tech. So keep that in mind. You do have to buy them with some sort of computers. It does not have to be an equal ratio. So if you buy 5 computers, you can buy 10, Windows licenses. But you do have to pair them with some sort of computer. But operating systems are allowable. So that is very important to note. That's why Chrome licenses get approved, Chrome management licenses. So definitely remember that is that for Lib Tech. Chrome management licenses and Windows licenses are allowable because they're considered operating systems. Just pair them with some sort of amount of a computer. Oh, yeah, Amanda, other participants talking loudly. That's true. People chatter. That's why everything else is going on. Oh yeah, those rooms with the loft. Well, Andrew, that's really good to know that you like this format. Yeah, a bit better. I will say I've enjoyed it just from an organizer standpoint, because often I miss my team stuff. You know, I'm doing stuff or getting things done, so I don't get to see my team stuff. And like I've been able to attend, you know, I've been able to attend some of, you know, David's stuff and some of Daniel's training. And these are things that, and even some sessions that I'm just, you know, would love to see how other people are doing. So I try and join every one of them. And I would not otherwise have that opportunity, because I'd be interrupted or like have to go, for example, like last year, put out a fire in a building. So, or took on a fire in a building. So, you know, it's been nice that way. I do like Unicoi. I like it for what it gives us, except the rooms. I could not take the rooms. But I do like this format. It has really allowed me to see a lot more stuff this year, which has been really fun. I really miss being able to see what you guys are doing. All right, we'll give it one more minute, and then I'm gonna go ahead and shut it down. And then, oh, Andrew, I've never been to Amacola Falls. Amacola Falls? Yeah, I haven't been there. I've heard that though. I want to say we looked at that, but they had like they don't have enough rooms for what we need or something like that. I think Unicoi is that best. I want to say it just has just enough rooms. That's another benefit to this year. You know, we're always limited to 100 people. And this year we've had as many people who wanted to attend could attend, because we didn't have a room limit. So that's been nice too. Oh, you're welcome, Heidel. Happy to help. All right, I'm going to call it here. I don't see any more questions. Please don't hesitate to go jump over into Whova, or as you're working in the next 24 hours, don't hesitate to contact me in Whova or by email. You guys are amazing. Have a wonderful day. Send a good vibe. Bye.